Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a very serious and developing story coming out of Nigeria. Reports are circulating that at least 16 senior military officers have been detained by the armed forces of Nigeria over an alleged plot to overthrow the government of President Bola Tinubu. This is a significant event, and we're going to break down what we know so far. According to top sources cited by Sahara reporters, these officers, ranging in rank from captain to a brigadier general, were allegedly planning a coup d'etat. For those who might not know, a coup d'etat is a sudden, often violent seizure of power from a government, typically by the military or another elite group. It's a direct challenge to the established political order. Now, the official story from the Nigerian military is a bit different. A few days ago, the Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, released a statement. In it, he claimed that the detention of these officers was related to repeated failure in promotion examinations and perceived career stagnation. He framed it as a matter of indiscipline and breach of service regulations, suggesting that the officers' grievances were personal and career-related, and that their conduct was simply not up to military standards. Some of the arrested officers were already facing trials for various other offenses. However, sources from within the intelligence community paint a much more alarming picture. A senior official from the Defense Intelligence Agency, or DIA, which was involved in the arrests, has reportedly stated that this was not a simple disciplinary issue. This official claims the officers were actively planning to stage a coup and install a military government, motivated by a belief that they needed to take power from what they perceived as selfish politicians. According to this insider, the plot was uncovered through a significant intelligence-gathering operation conducted by the DIA in collaboration with other security agencies. The arrests were made recently, with officers being picked up from their homes across the country. Their ultimate goal, the source alleges, was to overthrow President Tinubu and announce a new military regime. They are reportedly still in detention at a DIA facility as investigations continue. This brings us to a very interesting and potentially related event: the cancellation of Nigeria's Independence Day parade. Nigeria celebrated its 63rd anniversary of independence on October 1st, but the traditional military parade was conspicuously absent. Initially, no explicit reason was given, but now another source has linked this cancellation directly to the foiled coup plot. The source claims that the plotters intended to carry out their plan on October 1st during the parade. The alleged plan was chilling. They would open fire on President Tinubu and other high-ranking government officials attending the event. This intelligence, reportedly received by the National Security Advisor and the service chiefs, led them to advise the government to cancel the parade altogether to prevent a potential catastrophe. So the public announcement of the arrests framed as a disciplinary matter may have been a strategic move by the military authorities to manage public perception and prevent widespread panic while they dealt with a very real and dangerous internal threat. By downplaying the severity of the situation, they could have been trying to douse tension, as the source put it. To understand the weight of this news, we need to look at Nigeria's history. Since gaining independence in 1960, the country has experienced 5 successful military coups, which led to decades of military rule. The return to democracy in 1999 was a hard-won victory, and the memory of those years is still fresh for many Nigerians. The idea of another coup is therefore deeply unsettling and raises concerns about the stability of the nation as democratic institutions. This alleged plot doesn't exist in a vacuum. In recent times, there have been growing concerns about corruption within the military. Some soldiers and officers have voiced their frustrations, blaming corruption and poor leadership for a decline in morale and effectiveness, especially in the ongoing fight against insurgency and banditry in various parts of the country. These underlying grievances, whether about career progression, as the official statement says, or about broader issues of governance and corruption, can create fertile ground for dissent within the armed forces. It is crucial to remember that these are still developing reports. The narrative of a coup plot comes from anonymous sources, while the official military position remains focused on disciplinary issues. As the investigation proceeds, more details will hopefully emerge to clarify what truly happened. Was this a genuine, high-level conspiracy to topple the government? Or was it a case of disgruntled officers whose discontent was misinterpreted or exaggerated? The implications are huge, regardless of the final outcome. If a coup plot is confirmed, it exposes a dangerous fracture within the Nigerian military and a direct threat to its democracy. It would force the government and military command to undertake a serious, soul-searching review of their structures, command, and the welfare of their personnel. On the other hand, even if it was just a case of widespread indiscipline, it still points to significant morale and systemic problems within the armed forces that need to be addressed urgently. The recent wave of coups in other West African countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, and most recently Niger and Gabon has put the entire region on high alert. Leaders in the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, currently chaired by President Tinubu, have taken a strong stand against these unconstitutional changes of government. The irony that Nigeria, the regional power leading the charge for democracy, might have been facing a similar threat at home is not lost on anyone. This situation highlights the fragility of democratic governance, not just in Nigeria, but across the continent. It's a stark reminder that military institutions must remain subordinate to civilian democratic authority. The military's role is to defend the nation's territorial integrity and its constitution, not to be an alternative government in waiting. For now, the Nigerian public and the international community are watching closely. The government's next steps will be critical. There will be calls for transparency, for a thorough and fair investigation, and for any individuals found guilty to be held accountable through the proper legal channels. At the same time, it's an opportunity for the administration to address the root causes of discontent, whether it's corruption, perceived injustices in promotions, or the immense pressure on military personnel fighting on multiple fronts. This is a story with many layers, and we will continue to follow it as more information becomes available. The stability of Africa's most populous nation and largest economy hangs in the balance, and the outcome of this investigation will have far-reaching consequences. What are your thoughts on this situation? Do you believe the official statement from the military, or do you think there's more to the story? Let me know in the comments below. It's a complex issue, and it's important to have these conversations. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this breakdown informative, please give this video a thumbs up, and consider subscribing to the channel for more updates on this and other important stories. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yes, here we are. Greetings and welcome all of you, my dear lovely family, brothers and sisters here in the continent, and to you who are in the diaspora. There are some information circulating on social media about military coup or failed coup in Nigeria. The government has said that was just misinformation. It's not true. There's no any kind of military coup in Nigeria. But if this is true, this recently failed coup attempt in Nigeria should not be dismissed as a mere security breach, even though it was dismissed by the Nigerian Army headquarters. This is a clear message to our governments, to our leaders, that there's a need for them to do reflection, responsibilities, and to do some reforms, because this is a test for our governments, whether there is military coup or not. But this should not be ignored or dismissed, because we have seen in many countries things started like this. When people say there's some military coup, others say there's no military coup, but at the end of the day, we find that these countries dropped into this military coup. So to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in need to do reflection, responsibilities and also to do some reforms in order to make sure that Nigerians feeling are part of his government. Because if we don't do so, what we have seen in other countries, in Madagascar, and recently we heard the same story in Cameroon. Of course, we saw in Sahel what happened. So democratic government have to do some reflection, whether it is not about Nigeria, even the rest of the world, especially in the continent of Africa. We need to do some reflection, responsibilities, and also to do some reforms. I've been saying this many times. Young people of this generation are asking, how is it possible that the continent with rich in terms of resources, in terms of everything, is the poorest continent? How can you convince these young people? For instance, Nigerians, a country that is the main producer of oil, are importing petroleum, importing diesel, importing other oil products, while Nigeria has oil. So those are questions that many Africans, Nigerians are asking. So it's the time for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Nigerian government to do some assessment and to reflect for some things to make sure that these things that people are asking are being collected and making in the good manner. We know that we have already signed some contracts, maybe previous governments have signed some contract with Western power, Western companies or multinational companies. So maybe this time we don't have power to demand our resources, but we need to tell the people the truth. You know, one day I asked, and I said this, is it true that these resources that are in Africa are owned by Africans? For instance, a Nigerian oil. Is it true that Nigerian oil is owned by Nigerians? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. If it is not true that maybe for 20 years to come, this oil will not be owned by Nigerians, we have already privatizing this sector. Let us tell the people the truth that right now, this oil that you see is not owned by us by this time. It is owned by Shell, it is owned by maybe Total, it is owned by other companies. We have privatized these resources. So don't wait for product from these resources. Maybe you can tell the people the truth. Maybe this gold that we have right now, it is not owned by us. We have already privatized this, maybe this mine or this resources, so that the people can understand. But if you tell the people that we have this, we have that, we have this, we are so rich, and people see that they're living in a poor condition, people are coming out and starting to demand sometimes even the thing that the government can't do. We know that many of our governments are under control from the West, sometimes from the East. So we don't have full power to decide. But if we can tell the people, and of course I know the people can find the best way to tune their minds and to find the best way and how they can learn their own things without depending on government. Right now we are talking about employment opportunities. We know that we have resources, but these resources are not owned by us. Oh, we have already privatized these resources. So don't tell people that we will give you jobs, we give you work. So let us tell the people that for this limited resource that we have, we can educate our people and create their own jobs. If we can do like that, you will never see people on the streets. You can never see the people demonstrating, but people want the truth. So families, brothers and sisters, I think for that, we can avoid these military coups in the continent of Africa. If you have something to share with us, please do so through the comment section. If you are believing that there's no military coup in Nigeria or those attempts, it was just rumors, please you may share with us through the comment section. Also, you may share this video to other Africans here in the continent and to those who are also in the diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa. Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make African great. Thank you, freedom. Thank you, Africa.